Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here very much on this day. I'm Paul Simpson, Harris County Republican Party Chair. In light of the tragic and senseless violence that's happened in Orlando, the Harris County Republican Party and some of our elected officials here in Harris County, as well as the City of Houston, and as well as some of our Muslim brethren, want to speak to the public and reassure them that we understand the magnitude of the threat ahead of us and what needs to be done to deal with it. But before we begin, like as we do at any Republican event in Harris County, I'd like to start with pledges of allegiance. And so for the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag, Mr. Syed Ali will lead us. Syed?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bob. Bob, could you do this statement?
And I will lead us in the pledge to the greatest state in this country, the state of Texas. The Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much. Now, first speaker who will address you this afternoon is Mr. Syed Ali. You may have heard of Mr. Syed. He's one of our most recently inducted precinct chairs with the Harris County Republican Party, and he's been a proud, active Republican for many years. And he's brought some of his brethren and colleagues here. So I asked Mr. Syed Ali to address you. Syed?
Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable DA, Sheriff, Paul Simpson, and our councilman, District F, and our imam and good friends, first of all, appreciate for coming today. Thank you, good evening, and good afternoon. Since there are many leadership is over here, I'm just going to say a couple bullet points, and that's all. I got about 200 pages, but I'm not going to read it. One is this, that incident, as much as we condemn this incident in Florida, not enough. That's number one. And all my colleagues is completely alliance with me about this act of the terrorism, barbaric, and any word in dictionary we can use, we will use for that individual act. Number one. Number two, I would request to media particularly, do not associate. If the person who has a Muslim name, do not associate an individual act to the all Muslim community. We just did Pledge of Allegiance. Forefather 230 years ago know that Muslim is coming. And invisible God, that's a philosophy of the Muslim. So nobody should think that ever Muslim can hurt the nation or civilization or any individual country, city, town, or person. So please do not individual act associate with Islam in any way. Number three is this point that this act he did over there. Now we're finding out so many things about this person individually, that he was this and he was that. I request to law enforcement officers over here, particularly Harris County and City of Houston, when they find out some negative news about an individual person who belongs to the community, I urge please communicate with the leadership over here, with the imam, so we can see before this disaster happen. We don't want after the disaster we find out this person or that person was involved with these activities. Which is a disaster is a disaster. I would suggest one imam is right here, Imam Wazir Ali is right here. Where's Imam Wazir Ali? Imam Wazir Ali right here. Him, I would request to urge to DA and the Sheriff, Imam Wazir Ali and me, and we give you a couple more people, DA, to put this committee that consult with us in the community. Sheriff, any problem happen in the community, let us know, and we discuss among our leadership, and we go from there. There's another honorable gentleman of the community, just walk in. I see Mr. Hafiz Iqbal, the gentleman is right there. He holding this Madrasa Islamia right on behind the hillcrop. Very big mosque, very influential person. So please, any time you have, contact me. We can communicate with him so he can advise, guide, counsel, or whatever we need. Same time, we have a very intelligent imam, Mr. Afzal Qadri right here. very, very intelligent in Islamic, and he can guide and coach anybody, anytime, if misguiding Muslim is there, so-called. There's another imam right here, but he's a residence imam. He will go, I think, in a month or so. There's a couple other imams will be right here. Thank God that we have this much influence in the community, these ladies, gentlemen, that you're not going to believe it. I urgently request to DA and particularly Sheriff and the Councilman Mr. Steve Lee, the police contacts us for any mishap. My 20 pages is finished. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And you just heard his name mentioned, so I'll invite now Houston City Councilman Steve Lee to say a few words. Councilman?
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, elected official, as well as Imam. My name is Steve Lee. I am the City of Houston Councilman for District F. You know, it's a shame that any time our country faces a crisis such as this, we seem to be more divided, more politicized. You know, this is not something that anybody wants. This is not a left or a right thing. This is actually a heinous crime. This is something that a person who is very sick and is using for his own agenda. He's using a scapegoat, and unfortunately, anytime when one of us hear a news like this, you know, our heart gets shattered. But what I see every time when this happens is that our country gets more and more divided. You know, we should not be doing this. As you can see behind me and all around this room, we're here from all different ethnicities. You know, I came here from Vietnam when I was 8 years old. You know, thank God that we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion here. Thank God that we have the right to exercise all of our God-given rights, our liberty and our happiness here. You know, thank God that we are in this greatest country to do whatever we like to do for the benefit of society. We need to be united against this heinous crime. We should not be dividing between left and right or any other group. You know, so the one message that I want to send out to the media and everybody else across the country is that anytime after a heinous crime like this, we need to target the sick individual and we need to sympathize for the victims rather than politicizing this and dividing our country further. Thank you very much for being here.
I'm going to take a couple 1 minute only to introduce a couple guests. One is Imam Wazir Ali. I will request him for a minute or so. He can share his thought. Then there's a scholar, Dr. Farooq Hassan is from, and he is a master in George University, sir?
Postdoctor from Georgetown University.
Georgetown University, and he's going to address to you for a minute or so. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request Imam Wazir Ali, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Imam Wazir Ali, W-A-Z-I-R-A-L-I. I'm the Imam of Masjid W.D. Muhammad, which is the oldest, one of the oldest and most historic mosques in Houston, Texas. We see the acts of this barbaric individual in Orlando, Florida, as an affront to human decency and our humanity. We condemn in the strongest terms anytime individuals are targeted and murdered simply because they choose certain ways to live their lives. We want to communicate to the American public that Muslims, we're law-abiding citizens. We believe in the Constitution. One of the things that the Constitution was ordained to do is to ensure domestic tranquility and prevent things like this. In addition to law enforcement, we also call on psychologists, sociologists, criminologists, and others to help us identify individuals who may be leaning toward doing acts like this, help us identify their characteristics so that we can prevent these actions, these mass murders that we've seen perpetrated by individuals who know no religious boundary. These acts have been perpetrated by individuals from different races, different religions. These are acts of mass murder, and there's certain characteristics of individuals who perpetrate these heinous crimes that we can identify. So it's going to take the collective work of all of us to help prevent tragedies like this in the future, and we stand hand in hand with you as citizens. We hurt anytime citizens get injured and murdered and maimed, and we want to prevent atrocities and injustices like this in the future. Thank you.
And I will request Mr. Dr. Farooq Hassan for a minute, say put his thoughts to us and see how he think about this situation. Thank you. Dr. Farooq Hassan, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. As far as this crime is concerned, Islamic scripture says that if anyone kills an innocent person, it would be as if he killed all mankind. Killing of an innocent, regardless of color, creed, religion, that if anyone is killed, it is considered as a killing of all humanity. And if a person rescued another person, it would be as if he rescued all mankind. So if some people say that it was a religiously motivated crime, no, it was not the religiously motivated crime, but it was because the scriptures, Islamic scripture, Quran does not allow to kill any innocent person. Then Islam is if we read the scripture, Islam is a religion of peace, harmony, tranquility, universal brotherhood. Problem does not lie in religion. Problem lies in interpreters, in people, how they understand it. I condemn as a Muslim this tragedy or killing of innocent people in Florida. So it has no concern with religion, but it was the act of individual, and the criminals should be punished, and they should be treated as a criminal, whether they belong to any religion. Religion has no concern with them, with their crimes. Or the mentally sick people, there must be something, counseling, proper counseling for the healthy society. Yes, people are not only hungry and thirsty for food and water in the world, but also they need that spiritual guidance and also psychological guidance for them also needed to prevent such crimes and such killing of innocent people. Thank you so much.
Who's next? She's clean up. Okay. Let's get our lineup straight. Next, I would like to ask you to listen to some words from our sheriff, Ron Hickman.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Imams, for your very concise words. First and foremost, our hearts and prayers go out to the victims and families and loved ones of those lost in Orlando. Certainly, as the Imam mentioned, this is, in fact, an attack on our humanity. It's an act of hate directed with terror up against a certain segment of our community. We have a very large Muslim population in Harris County, in fact, in our region. They have a phenomenal network of communication and do some phenomenal things. Our responsibility in the criminal justice community, both the district attorney and I, are responsible making sure that we protect all of our law-abiding citizens. And we call upon those in our region, within our hearing and listening audience, if you know of someone who has been espousing radical views, then if you don't feel comfortable talking to a law enforcement officer or the district attorney's office, then please go to your imam, go to someone. If you see something, then say something. It's critically important that we have information that's necessary to protect all of our community, to make sure that those who have hate in their heart, who are dead set on fulfilling their intent with acts of terror, are rooted out before that opportunity presents itself, so that we can prevent the terror, so that we can prevent those concerns in the future. Our DA, District Anderson.
I'd like to thank Syed and Paul for getting this group of people together. I think it shows the best of Houston. the most diverse city in the country, comes together in times of tragedy. We don't divide, we don't politicize, we come together to condemn the horrific and senseless attack in Orlando. I want to reiterate what the sheriff said and what Syed said about reporting what you know. Just 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a lot of the same cameramen about Josue Flores' killer, searching for his killer, asking people to come forward and talk about what you know. Well, I'm doing it again, and this is just as critical. You may know something. You may have heard someone say something that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. You know you need to tell. You need to let us know. And as the sheriff just said, if you're not comfortable calling law enforcement, please call your imam or your religious leader or your boss, tell your boss, whoever. But we do not want an incident like this happening in Houston. Every time we have a mass shooting in this country, we hear about the red flags. The red flags, all the clues in 2020 hindsight, where we saw all the things laid out about the killer that we should have noticed. Please be hyper aware of your surroundings. We do not want a mass shooting in Houston. And also, as far as hate crimes go, I'm going to say this. Violent crime committed against anyone for any reason in Harris County will not be tolerated under my watch.
Good. Good.
But make no mistake about it, that if it's a hate crime, if it is a crime committed against someone because of their religion, their sexual preference, their race, their ethnicity, or their disability, we will charge it as a hate crime. We will seek the higher punishment range that the legislature's allowed us to seek, and we take these crimes very seriously. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you again, and I want to last say, I don't think we can say this enough. As a citizen, as the DA, and as a mother, I want to thank police officers, all the first responders, EMS, firemen. We know that you deal with the evil every day and you see the catastrophic results of it. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your work keeping us safe every day. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here. We have another speaker.
Another gentleman come in.
Do you want to introduce him?
Yes. There's another our scholar and from Karachi, Mr. Noon Naqvi is here today. Thank you, sir, for coming. Sorry that we have a short of time and we don't let you at this time, but I appreciate you come. I would like to say our community something the DA say, the sheriff say, and the PAL say. This is not the law enforcement responsibility to come to us. As well as a community leader and community people is our responsibility as well, that if he sees something, feel free to contact them. Feel free, I said. And if you don't want to contact DA or don't want to contact the sheriff, contact me. I'm a half DA and half sheriff. You like that? You all know me very well. And you know that. I don't like injustice, like DA say. I don't like discrimination. I don't like religion.